Hey, do you think it's possible to pay off $9,000 of credit card debt in just 15 months and on a single income? Let's find out. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning into our channel, DeCarollis Financial Solutions. My name is Brenda DeCarollis. My husband and I are financial coaches. Let's dive into this 9K payoff scenario. If you see on the screen here, I'm going to give you a breakdown of this individual's specific situation. Their monthly net income that they're bringing in is $32.89 and 93 cents. Their total monthly living expenses are $2,887.63, which puts them at a cash flow positive of $400. This specific individual has been scratching their head and trying to figure out how they can pay off their debts. They've been lingering and they've been dragging on for about a year now, and they just can't seem to make any headway because they're trying to put a little bit more towards their credit card payments every single month, but it's just not getting them anywhere. And the frustration is quite real. So one way that I decided to do this is to do a twofold strategy where we can do a combination of a velocity banking paydown as well as using the snowball banking method. Now, the snowball debt paydown method really involves tackling the smallest debt first and then climbing your way up the ranks until you can tackle the largest debt at the very last step. The reason for this is so that it can be a motivation, because if you start seeing the small debts get paid off quickly, then that gives you motivation, gives you energy to continue on course with the plan to tackle the debt. The velocity banking adds an extra layer of enthusiasm because you'll see, as in the example that we will show here, how quickly this can get done. And we've managed to pay it off in 15 months exactly. This person individually does not have any personal line of credit. They have 3 credit cards that are almost maxed out. So their first credit card is down here. The balance is sitting at $5,000. Their limit is $7,000. And the second credit card, their balance is sitting at $3,000 and their limit is $4,000. And the third credit card is at $1,100 with a limit of $3,000. So they're not completely maxed out here, but they're pretty close to it. And if they continue down this path, then they might keep dipping into these extra limit availabilities and max themselves out. What they're doing is they're putting a little bit more towards their monthly payments to try to see if they can put some dent into this. With $400 cash flow, you might be thinking, how can this be possible in 15 months? But I'm going to draw it up for you step by step so you can see it all in action. Now, velocity banking usually works the best with a personal line of credit where you can dump all of your income in and take all of your expenses out of the line of credit. It's a lot easier to work with. But in this specific individual's case, we don't have access to a personal line of credit. And their credit score is suffering a little bit and they wouldn't quite qualify for one right now. So we're going to get them to the point where their credit score is going to do a significant increase so that they'll have more options and more credit available to them, and they'll be more inclined to be approved by any banking institution. So let's get started. Now, with paying things off with a credit card and a velocity banking strategy, we really have to determine what expenses can be paid with a credit card, and then we have to isolate the expenses that cannot be paid with a credit card and keep them completely separate from the velocity banking strategy. I hope this makes sense. So in each of these lines, we have the rent, utilities, groceries, eating out, transit. They don't have a car. They're a single individual and they just take transit to and from work and going out or whatever. Their subscriptions and their credit card debt over here. And in this last column here, I put, can the expense be paid with a credit card? Rent cannot be paid from a credit card. Utilities generally do not. They sometimes charge an extra fee to pay it by credit card, so I wouldn't advise that. Groceries, most definitely you can pay with a credit card. Eating out, definitely. Transit, most definitely. Subscriptions, yes, you can pay those with a credit card. And then your credit card payments probably can't be done with a credit card, so I left those at a no. So the income we have to figure out based on these expenses that we can use from a credit card. We have to determine how much of the income on his monthly schedule that he can allocate towards putting towards the velocity banking method. Now, I've determined that it's $1,389.93. And this is based on the total income minus the expenses that cannot be paid by a credit card. So the expenses that cannot be paid by a credit card totals out to $1,900 a month. So that $1,900 will have to be kept aside into his checking account so that he can manage all of the non-credit card paying expenses. I hope this makes sense. So we're going to be focusing on this as the monthly income, and the monthly expenses will be down to $987.63, which is all of these debts right here. If you add them up, it comes to $987.63. Okay, so let's get started. The monthly breakdown. Now, as you can see here, the monthly income has already gone up because the first debt that we're going to tackle is this third credit card that has a balance of $1,100. And the monthly payment that's allocated to this is $60. So the minute that we start dumping our income into this one credit card, that monthly payment completely gets wiped out because the income deposit is essentially acting as the payment. So you don't have to put an extra $60 there. So month one, we're going to tackle the smallest debt first, which is $1,100. But as you can see, his monthly income that we can allocate for velocity banking is at $1,449.93. So the $1,100, all he has to do is just throw that money there and call it a day, and that credit card is paid off in month one. Talk about motivation. So the new monthly breakdown now ends up being higher because now we're going to tackle credit card number 2, and we're going to eliminate this $100 monthly payment. So his monthly income is now going to increase by another $100 that he could put towards the velocity banking. And so we're starting at a new monthly income of $1,549.93. The monthly expenses stay the same, and the cash flow is increasing, as you can see. So we're still in month one. So in month one, he put $1,100 toward credit card number 1 to pay that off. Now we're going to tackle credit card number 2 that's sitting at a balance of $3,000 with a limit of $4,000. So what's left over from his income is just $449.93. So we're just going to deposit that as his income deposit. His expenses are going to come out. So the amount of expenses is going to supersede the amount of income going in, but that's okay. That's just for 1 month. And the interest is being calculated here based on the credit card's interest rate. And I just worked it out based on the highest held balance in the month and divided it by 12, and you get $62.48, which you see here. So at the end of month one, the balance is actually higher. It's at $3,600 because he put less of an income and he applied all of his expenses to this credit card. Now in month 2, the income deposit is $1,549.93, expenses going out, and the balance starts to go down to $3,112. Month 3, income going in, expenses coming out, balance drops down to $2,615. Month number 4, same thing, balance goes down to $2,107. Month 5, same thing, balance goes down to $1,589. Month 6, balance down to $1,059.92. So we're back to the spot where he's just at pretty much at $1,100 balance. So in month 7, he's just going to put his income completely to wipe this debt down to $0. So he will be done with credit card number 2 after month 7. So in month 7, we're going to be tackling credit card number 1, which is that larger $5,000 balance, and we're going to be eliminating the $125 monthly payment there. So his monthly income that can be used towards velocity banking has now increased to just under $1,675. Expenses are still the same, but the cash flow has increased. So month 7 continued. We're starting at a $5,000 balance. His income deposit will be $615 because remember, we have to take the $1,674 minus the $1,059 that he paid off the second credit card down to 0. And what's left over is $615.01. So again, in month 7, the balance is going to creep up to $5,460 from the $5,000, but that's okay. That's just for 1 month. Month 8, we put the full income deposit and we come down to a balance of $4,868. We do it again in month 9. balance down to $42.66. Month 10, balance down to $36.53. Month 11, balance down to $3,030. Month 12, balance down to $23.95. Month 13, balance down to $17.50. Month 14, the balance is down to $1,093. And again, we're right back to the same spot where you just do the income deposit based on the balance that's being held, and this debt is completely wiped down to $0 in month 15. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you pay off $9,000 of credit card debt in just 15 months and on a single income with a lower salary. It can be done. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate your support, and we'd really appreciate it if you could like this video, subscribe to our channel, even share it with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from it, and set up the notifications on the channel. Also, if you really find this video helpful, you can try watching one of these two videos as well. They might be able to give you some additional information that you can work off of. Again, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. God bless you, and we'll see you soon. And if you didn't know, now you know.